Give a warm welcome for Mr. Nick Pelton, everybody.
All right, woo, that's on. Thank you, everybody. Christ almighty, these lights hit you. It's like you died and you went to the set of Hee Haw. All right, this is great. That's what I was hoping for. That's what I prayed for all these years. You guys hear me in the back? All right. And more importantly, can you see my mustache in the back? A lot of this set relies on this mustache, okay, guys? There's three, I'm gonna get this out right away. There's three types of mustaches, okay? One is worn ironically. Two, it's worn because you're a badass and you've killed someone. And three, it's because you're a sex offender. This is the ironic type. Let's just get that out right of the way. Though, quick public service announcement. A little bit earlier today, I checked out, there's a website you can go to. You can find all the sex offenders in your area code. So I checked that out real quick just to make sure, nobody on the list here is, on that list too. And we're safe there, but it turns out about half of the sex offenders in Santa Fe live on Bob Street. Bob Street. Do you guys know Bob Street? Yeah, that little dumb street right at the end of Passaic and Peralta. Like if you fell asleep on the bus and woke up, you're at Bob Street now. Home of half of the sex offenders of Santa Fe. So, in Britain they say Bob's your uncle, but everybody's your uncle down there at Bob Street. So I thought okay, sorry, weird place to start, everybody. Let me course correct a little bit here. Who here likes serial killers? Any serial killers? Hell, do we have any serial killers out here tonight? Come on, your secret's safe with me. There we go, let's be honest. Something about stand-up comedy, we're a vulnerable type. We attract kind of, predatory crowds. But as we all know, the greatest serial killer of all time is Jeffrey Dahmer. Am I right? Jeffrey Dahmer, that sick bastard, killed dozens of male prostitutes. And every time I hear about him, I get nostalgic about the Midwest. You know what I mean? He is kind of the most token, perfect example of the Midwest. This is a guy who chopped up people, put their body parts in his refrigerator. Then when he woke up in the middle of the night and was feeling a little bit peckish, he'd just get some bread, some mayonnaise, a foot, and have himself a delicious mayonnaise sandwich. And I grew up on mayonnaise sandwiches, you know what I'm saying? We ate bologna, which is probably about 5% human meat, but still, it's about the same thing. So Jeffrey Dahmer, classic serial killer, even at an early age, he showed all three signs of being from the Midwest. First and foremost is looking like you're from the 90s, no matter what decade it is. I mean, okay, look at me. I put this on, I thought, this will look cool, right? I look like a pager salesman. Or I look like I appraise Beanie Babies for a living. Oh yeah, Dopey Lobster. This will be worth millions one day. Come the turn of the millennium. So that's 90s sign, Midwestern sign number one. Telltale Midwestern sign number two, deep sexual repression. That's what we live on up there. That's our main resource. We don't have any kind of minerals or ores. There's no tourism in the Midwest. It's sexual repression like a goddamn nuclear reactor, Dad's out there in the middle of the lawn, measuring every single blade of grass. It's a beautiful day out here. Mom's in the kitchen, she's putting her 8th casserole in the oven. Something's gotta go in the oven. And here I am, do you know what I like to do? I like to wave this big black phallic thing in my face for 15 minutes. It all adds up. But the third telltale sign of being from the Midwest is perfectly exemplified by Jeffrey Dahmer's half-assed mullet. So take a moment to think about that, because a mullet is already a half-assed haircut as it is. You know what I mean? Business in front, party in back. So to half-ass that, again, we're at a quarter ass, people. Do the math. And that's what the Midwest is all about, quarter-assing it, okay? You give us a job, we'll tell you, okay, I'm gonna do a half-assed job. but then we'll half-ass that again. It's unbelievable. Like, okay, take my mustache. No, take the name Midwest for starters. It sounds like a group of people who maybe tried to go all the way west and stopped halfway through, right? But we look at the fucking map. Here's the East Coast, here's the West Coast, Midwest is about right here, about here. I don't think they made it a single day. I think they're like, let's head on up to California. And then the sun starts saying, screw it. It's good enough, we'll have some mayonnaise sandwiches. Send back, we'll tell them we made it halfway to the West. And so I'm excited to see one of the greatest exemplifiers, one of the greatest icons of the Midwest, besides Jeffrey Dahmer, is making a huge comeback, and that's mom jeans. Mom jeans, back out of nowhere. Now this could mean they're either getting popular again or people are leaving the Midwest in hordes because they never stopped wearing them up there. But here's how they exemplify all three of the ideals of the Midwest. First of all, they're the most 90s thing you can imagine. But second of all, sexual repression. You see, the mom jeans is pulled taut right here in the crotch area, cutting off blood flow to the genitals. Because you see, the genitals, you won't need those in the Midwest, not where you're going. And number three, the quarter ass. What it really does that's special is it exemplifies the lower quarter of the ass, the dumpy part of the ass, and the rest of it is squeezed down. So there's no ass until right above the knee, right where you want it. So, that's quarter-assing it, folks. That's a Midwest delicacy. But you know who's been really, really quarter-assing it lately? Even eighth-assing it, perhaps. Eighth-assing, that's right. We didn't know that technology existed. It's Hollywood. These guys are churning out, have you seen? They're just redoing old movies and putting even older guys in those movies. Am I right? They did another Matrix, for instance. First it was Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Resurrections, now it's Matrix Retarded. It's just non-stop. And I get it. I get why they're doing it from a business sense. Keanu Reeves is a very bankable guy, he's a very likable guy. Nobody doesn't like Keanu Reeves. Like Sarah Lee can choke on a ding-dong, you know what I'm saying? Keanu Reeves is where it's at, and I think obviously he's a handsome guy, he's a charming guy, and he looks like he genuinely doesn't know he's in the movie. I think he doesn't realize he's an actor. I think he just goes on adventures. Doesn't notice the set, doesn't notice the cameras, you know. Like, boy, Keanu, what have you been up to this year? Oh man, it's been crazy. First I traveled back in time, then I had to fight Dracula, then Steve Martin was my dad. That's a hell of a year, Keanu. Yeah. And so, it turns out that that's what makes him perfect for being Neo in The Matrix. So for those of you who don't remember The Matrix, it's this movie about everybody lives in a computer, they don't know that they're in a computer, and the big mystery of the movie, the big mindfuck of the movie, is how the hell is Keanu Reeves the guy who's gonna stop the machines? That's the mystery. How the hell is a guy this dumb gonna outsmart anything? You know what I mean? But it makes sense, and I will explain how. You see, in The Matrix, if you die in The Matrix, your brain thinks you're dead. And if your brain thinks you're dead, it tells your body you're dead. So you don't want some guy with a brain that knows when it should be dead. You don't want some doctor who's like, oh no, I'm losing enough blood to go into cardiac shock. No, you want a guy who looks like he forgets to breathe sometimes. You want the guy who goes, oh yeah, oh yeah, breathing. So that's why Keanu Reeves is invincible out there. They put him in The Matrix, he has no idea he's in The Matrix. To the producer, it's genius. He goes, it's perfect. We'll get the kid who doesn't even know he's in the pictures to star as the guy who doesn't even know he's in The Matrix. So there he is, in The Matrix, he gets shot. Oh, whoa. They karate chop him in the neck. Slight, ouch. And they could chop his head off and have it go rolling down the arroyo, and he'd just be like, oh, buzzkill, oh, man. So it makes a lot of sense in that vein. But I'm still sick overall. Overall, of these old dudes getting cast as action stars, you know? It all started with Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones. Remember that Indiana Jones 4? The movie starts, you think his face is melting like at the end of the first movie. You're like, watch out, Indy, it's the Ark! And then you're like, oh, his face just looks like that now. It's just some old guy now. Or I watched The Irishman recently, and they're like, oh, who should play this 22-year-old main character? I know, 88-year-old Robert De Niro. They even put him in a fight scene, which as far as I can tell used a whole bunch of cranes and pulleys just to get him to be able to move. If you think he deserves an Oscar, the guy who had to pretend that he was getting beat up by him deserves the Oscar. And oh, you're walking so steadily. Ugh. But it just keeps going. I mean, what's next? Clint Eastwood is the Karate Kid? Or even better yet, coming this summer, Bruce Willis is Peter Pan. Oh, I lost my shadow, and my teeth, and my preparation H. It's starring the cast of The Expendables as the Lost Boys. Sylvester Stallone will be playing Little Wendy. There's a little boy in my room. I must have gotten one of too many ring-a-ding-dings in the head because I think he's flying. Bruce Willis is like, yeah, yippee-ki-yay, I'm flying all right. Oh, yeah. They tried to get Betty White to play Tinkerbell, but we just missed her. So instead, we've got Angela Lansbury, filmed live from her hospital bed. Please kill me. Hey, Peter Pan, could you teach me how to fly? Yeah, sure. You just need 2 Viagras, a Cialis, and then you think happy thoughts. Or you can just look at your phone. Come, see the magic through the eyes of a cataract this summer. Peter Pan with Bruce Willis. It's nonstop. I'll tell you what, speaking of Viagra, I've been thinking, I tend to get jealous of weird things. I don't know why. But I found myself, of all of God's creations, being jealous of panda bears. The dumbest animals of them all. They're like bears with none of the benefits of being a bear. You know, they don't eat children, they don't nap for 6 months, they don't fuck around with honey. They just sit around. But it struck me, bears are actually the most clever animal of them all. Because they've got this worldwide scheme going on. Do you know what it is? The whole world is trying to help panda bears get laid. Everyone. Americans, like the Americans and the Chinese don't agree on much. But they're both shaking hands and saying whatever it takes to get these little bears laid. You know what I mean? World resources. And I'm divorced, I'm in my 30s, I'm thinking about this, I'm like, why can't I have that kind of support? You know what I mean? I sure could use that level of global help when it comes to I'm about to go extinct. You know what I mean? Panda bears are black and white, I'm just white. I'm even more endangered. You know what I mean? America, China, think about Putin. If he's a scary man with a lot of power. If he used that power for good, like getting me laid, instead of evil, imagine how much that could help. I could have scientists watching me round the clock, you know, like, uh-oh, he's talking about YouTube again, get him out of there, get him out of there. They could build, look at this, they could build a little habitat, just like this, right? Where everything is like 7/8 the size. They look a little bit taller, you know what I mean? It's all an illusion. I'm actually this tall in real life, if you meet me. It's charming. Except I would make it look more like Three's Company. Hell, we could have round-the-clock news coverage, day 37, still no luck. Hang in there, pal. And I think that's it, everybody. I think that's all I've got for tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tumbleroot. Thank you, Tomas, for hosting.